Okay, we have a forum.
It's
Okay, 7 o'clock. All right. Okay, I call this planning board meeting to order, 7 o'clock. And we have a quorum and we also have an opening, so I will make a motion to appoint Jim.
You don't have to make a motion,
Or-
you can just appoint.
Oh, okay, I appoint you. You can sit at the table as a voting member for this meeting. Okay. Invitation for public comment. I think so. Cam's here because of the water
The wetland.
wetlands. So- Okay,
Yeah, I think Russ was gonna talk about it, so maybe
Yeah.
it's just running a little bit late.
okay. So, but no other comment, invitation?
No,
Okay,
just following up.
Yeah.
Also, that's something over here. What? Thank you.
old business, so the Allan Oxman,
You do the minutes.
oh, yeah, right. I skipped the minutes, was supposed to do minutes before the public comment, yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, okay, so, minutes from May 21st.
I only had one thing, which is probably nitpicky, but on page 1, under number 1, on when SWRPC, letter A. We talked about the governing body is made up of commissioners from each town, and I represent Temple, and then it said they provide technical assistance. It sounds like the commissioners do, but
It should be at the.
yeah. That was all I had.
Anybody else?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second,
Okay, any vote, Carter?
Yes.
I vote yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep, good. Minutes are approved for May 21st. Okay, now old business. So lot line adjustment for Allan and Suzanne Oxman at 5. Lots 48-2, 3 and 4.
so Russ isn't here, so I'll tell you what I know. Russ and I met yesterday and got the letters ready. He did receive an updated plan from the surveyor with, I think there's a whole bunch of documents that went with it, which I think were forwarded to everyone, or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so those were all sent, so it looks like we have everything we need at this point to proceed. It will run in the newspaper on Thursday, and Carol have been informed. The only thing that's left to do is to put the files up on the Temple page under case files so that people can look at it.
Okay, who does that?
I asked Russ to send it to Carol,
Okay,
webmaster Carol,
okay,
to take care of that, to add under, there's nothing yet for 2024, so it will be case file 2024, and then it will have the Oxman files.
so Russ to send case files to Carol to.
To put on the town website. Under, on the planning board page, there's a page for case files. So that members of the public can look at the information ahead of time, and abutters in particular. And then, the way we've done it in the past is we've asked if abutters want to look at the large scale plans before the meeting, they should email or call, and we'll meet them at the town office when they're open to show them the files.
Okay.
They have limited hours, so we asked for them to do it by appointment.
Okay.
That's
And,
all I have.
and so then the subdivision for James Quinn, they weren't ready yet, is that my understanding? They just,
Yes, Russ heard from the surveyor that they weren't gonna be ready for the June 18th hearing date. So, we're waiting to hear back from them on a new date, and he did send them our meeting schedule for the summer,
okay,
so they're aware when we're gonna meet next.
that it wouldn't be for them. We need the The
It would
next
be
closest would be
third
the
meeting in July.
July, right?
Right.
Okay. So they know that, okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so the Southwest Regional Planning Commission presentation follow-up from our last meeting, which was Todd Horner. Did you want
I don't know if there's any action items at this point, other than if Murray was here, I was gonna ask if you wanted to contact them about the driveway stuff that seems to be a bit stalled at the moment, and maybe they have some advice on that. I mean, we can talk later about the HOP grant that's further down on the agenda, but
Mhm.
there is a new application out. It seems to me to be prudent to wait until we get recommendations from the HOP grant committee before we proceed with an application for that.
to do more? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think those were the other items are more related to the highway garage study group, so not necessarily planning board.
Yeah, complete streets and,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's, the CAC is working on that, or that special committee.
I think it was helpful to have him come and speak though,
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
as for me as a newer member of the planning board, understanding how they can support us, how it's funded, like.
Right,
All of that
yeah,
is unknown, I think, for newer.
for a lot of people, not just newer.
Yeah.
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 No, I think it is helpful. The annual meeting for them is next Tuesday in Keene, if anyone's interested in going. It's at the library at 5. They usually record them too, although I'm not sure when they're at the library.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the Moosewood, that's item number 5 on his letter. Further down in our agenda.
Yeah,
Wanted,
yeah, we could talk about that now if you want. We can skip ahead one.
so I think I sent out the maps to everybody that we got from Jeff Littleton. Might have been this morning, so if you haven't checked your email recently, you might not have seen it. He did send a new land use map. Yes. And I had questions for him, so I'm guessing others have questions too, so. Just wanted to sort of put it out there, and I can send him an email. with
I
questions.
did get that. I didn't print it, but I did.
I have it online too.
They had that Mary misplaced.
I think I emailed it to myself. I had sent it also to Pam Kingston, who, chairs the HOP grant committee, because they've been waiting for this also. I don't know how to make it bigger, sorry. I don't know if you can see that too, George.
I printed that out today.
Yep,
I just forgot to bring it with me.
that's okay, yeah, I mean, I think there's questions.
There he is. Hey, Russ, forward. We'll dock your pay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think one of the things Pam noticed is that her property still says it's undeveloped, Pam Kingston. Which, she has a house, she's living in it
Right.
now, so the question was, how current is the data? So I sent the tax database to Jeff in January, and then the latest tax maps was like April, I think, when we got a final version, March, April. So he has all the latest data that we have access to, so I don't know why that's coming up differently. I think the other thing I noticed was, let's see, I feel like Ben's place is still showing up as agricultural with some commercial, so I didn't know how they calculated how much was agriculture, like, I feel like it's probably not agricultural around it anymore.
Yeah.
It's more, the whole thing is commercial, but I don't know what their formula is or their criteria, so that was mainly my questions. And then I tried to compare it to the 2002 map. But there seems to be different categories and different definitions, like they had in 2002 a category for recreational, and I don't know where that fits into the new map. What their definition was for recreational. So, and we seem to have gained a lot of acreage from the 2002. Because 2002, we had 14,241 acres, and for this one, we have 15,797. So,
Interesting.
We still,
yeah, I'm not really sure.
Weird.
What's going on there. So those were my questions. Was really hard to figure out how much land is developed and how much is protected, and yeah.
So should we have Jeff come back in, or should we have a phone call with him? To maybe just explain?
Yeah, we could
The-
do that.
yeah.
So what I did was I emailed Carol Ogilvy because she's supposed to be working with him and updating our master plan based on the information. And I said, I'm having a hard time making sense of this. Are you having better luck? And she said she was gonna try to work with it. So she may get an answer from Jeff. But
So one of them could
hopefully,
help us
yeah,
understand what we're looking at.
right.
I don't know if you guys talked about it, but I found it hard that the little squares
Yeah,
inside each. It's like, I know it's a thematic map and it's supposed to just say each lot has something, but why not just call it the whole lot?
right. Well, so I think what he said in his definition was that those are where there's a house. They did 2-acre squares within the entire parcel.
So the yellow,
Right in the
square,
middle of the parcels.
Those are 2-acre. But that's clearly, that's not 2 acres, right? That's
Yeah.
more. So
Some of those 2 acre squares on the top of the mountain, there's no, there's no
Right.
correlation to what you have listed as in
The
use
white-
and not in use.
Trying to
The
figure
white
out,
ones?
yeah, is that like,
Let's see.
I mean, there's some, but it's,
Because, like, I mean, if they do 2 acres for every house, I think it might be.
Yeah. for parcels less than or equal to 5 acres,
so much.
Yeah.
the land use was assigned to the entire parcel.
but look at like down here where this is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, why do they?
Right. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. The other thing was in 2002, they took out roads, and they didn't take out roads
And almost.
for this either.
Okay,
So
well, that could be the reason why
It's like-
that from
This-
14,000 to.
That's not
supposedly this includes the
Right.
roads, so
Well, we definitely need this,
I have more questions.
yeah,
I
for sure.
guess was the bottom line, so,
Mhm.
yeah. So I can definitely invite him in to come and explain
Yeah, so
the methodology.
Yeah, he does have a note in here about the 5 acres, if your land is less than 5 acres, then you allocate the whole thing as not use.
Yeah,
And if it's over 5 acres, they just did 2 acre square,
right,
but that's not necessarily true, because there's a lot of bigger than 2 acre squares in here.
right, right. And I don't know how different this would look if we had a GIS. Probably be more accurate, but,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what we have at the moment, and, yeah.
I mean, how granular are we trying to get with this? Like,
Yeah, that's a good
We-
question. How detailed do we really need? I think, like, my questions were, how much land is in conservation, how much is undeveloped, how much is developed? And then looking at things like the water, where's the water, where's the wetlands? That's more interesting, right,
Mhm.
for planning purposes.
yeah,
Is where
because
we-
it's just it doesn't give us those details.
Right. So I would think we'd get one of those.
Okay,
I mean, this is gonna be in our master plan,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's,
So we gotta make sure we know what we're looking at. Right. And, in our old master plan, there was the table and. Well, there's these definitions, but then when you look at the table, these don't match what's here. For their categories, so
and they obviously have a copy of our
they do,
existing master plan,
they do.
Yeah.
They do,
so there's no.
so. Well, I can certainly reach out to him and ask him to, either write something up or to come and talk to us in person. And I'll check in with Carol also.
Thank you. So, because if they did want to come in, it would be, well, you know, the timetable.
Yeah, yep. Well, if we're only doing one hearing, they could come to the next meeting.
Yeah, the hearing shouldn't take
Shouldn't.
too long, do a 7:15 hearing for
I think we said 7:10, right?
7:10,
Did you check?
that
the-
works.
What does it say in the notice? I think the Oxman one was first.
7 PM.
Meeting 7 PM. Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's fine then,
Yeah.
but
I mean, maybe if we start by sending him a list of questions, right? So he doesn't have to come all the way
Yep.
here to do that,
You might
right?
not know the answer right.
I know, right? That would be-
right, and it could be somebody else worked on the map, so.
Yeah, so maybe it's just we send him. I guess some of these thoughts that we're having, like. Will we get something that has the total
Definitions,
land,
charts.
right, for each category? Is that kind of what you were looking for? Christine?
Yeah. Right,
Like-
just something so we can compare where we were.
Right, where we were to where we are now, and maybe if
Right.
that is that in our master plan or old master
Yeah.
plan? So we're looking for something like this table here.
That people will be able to understand. If we as planning board members can't understand it, how are the
Right,
Right,
common citizen gonna be able to understand it?
and maybe that means some of the accuracy of some of the data, right? Like if you have
Yeah.
a question about bends, and I'm just trying even to figure out like where my house is, and I don't know, Christine, I mean, you live next to me. so,
right, I mean, because they
Like,
didn't
does
put,
it look clear to you, like how?
no, like, no.
Most is in the wrong spot, so,
Yeah, I mean, let's see, like, that's probably the Spadani land where it says public land, right? So if we go up. This is probably Howard Hill. Right? That's 101. I know you're not seeing, like,
yeah, but
How would
Beth and I were like following it back from Ben's, like, okay, that's.
I mean, I don't see
Right.
Kendall Road on here, like not, I think
Right.
not every road is on. But it'd be helpful if the pond is
Oh.
here.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
on there then,
The pond isn't there, though. That's usually what I look.
yeah, like,
And the other thing was the school. I was like, oh, well, that must be the school down here, this public lands. But then all this green says protected conserved land with that one yellow square in the middle. Like, what does that
wait,
mean?
what is
There's
that?
not a house in the middle of the pond,
Of the
of
reservoir?
the reservoir.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, we definitely need some answers.
yeah,
right, so maybe it's more of defining,
The presentation, I think squares are very.
receiving.
Yeah.
and why are there squares in the middle of the green space?
right.
Maybe some labels on the road, I don't know, would roads might be helpful.
He's probably struggling with the, where we don't have the GIS
Yeah,
system.
no, I
That,
know,
you already have all that information, you can turn things off and on, just print. Whereas. Yeah.
Right.
And here he's probably trying to figure out how to make something up that works and.
Right.
right, and maybe we don't get to that level of granularity, but then maybe it's just a more, we take the yellow dots off or something and make it more land totals or something.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, in this one, it includes surface water,
Mhm.
which
Isn't-
it isn't on this, yeah. So,
Yeah, because I'm sure it's hard, he's just like creating.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's,
right. And using the tax data, which isn't gonna have
not gonna be.
all of it on there. So, yeah, that was my. I mean, because when I looked at the percentages, according to this map, 68.8% of our land is vacant. And 22.7% is protected. That's like, that doesn't seem. I mean, I know there's a lot on Temple Mountain and Backman and, you know, some other places around, but that's.
Yeah, but even if you
Only
just look at
10%
this,
is developed.
if you look at this map,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like that, so.
6%, it says 6% developed,
Yeah.
it has housing on it, or, and then commercial is 0.1%.
but how much of that,
Like,
I'm creating a lot, what are they considering developed? Are they considering a 2,000 square,
Right.
a foundation, the
Right,
footprint?
There's the
So if
development.
they're doing that, then yeah, that might,
Probably,
that would make sense.
yeah.
That's when the land use piece comes into play.
right, then it would be helpful to know, oh, single family
Yeah.
is this percentage. So maybe that's
Yeah.
all we're looking for is like more percentage based, and the
Mhm.
map is less important because I think it's gonna be hard for him to like, to actually get us
Right,
a solid map without a GIS.
right.
And I know they want to be, they want to be done.
They do want to be
In
done.
in June, right? This is-
Yeah,
We're in June now.
yeah,
So it's-
right.
Clock's ticking.
Okay.
Do we want to go back? Do you have more on that?
I don't,
Okay,
but if people think of questions after the meeting, they can email me.
going back before you came, Russ, we just explained the Allan Oxman lot line adjustment for the
Okay.
hearing,
Yeah.
hearing coming in a few weeks, and that, and then the Jim Quinn, they know that, they weren't ready,
Right.
and that they won't be able to
They're not
have
gonna submit.
until the third or second meeting in July.
They didn't even say that.
They didn't even say that,
They
okay,
just said they wouldn't be able to make our deadlines. That's all it was.
balls in their court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then was there, when did we want to talk about we don't have it on the agenda, so I know
Yeah,
we have the watershed protection audit. And what would be the right way to insert that into the?
do you want to
discussion?
finish old business and talk about it under new business?
That makes sense. Yep, we'll do that. Okay, so zoning ordinance updates.
Anybody have any to return to me?
I do.
Yay! Thank you, George.
The only thing I put on different, those things which, make sure all numbers are the same.
Mhm.
Everything that changed is, referred to select board rather than board of selectmen.
Okay,
And I think that was a change
yep,
that was made.
okay,
Made throughout that.
okay,
And I made a mistake, I went and put a pencil mark on it.
yep, I saw one, yep,
Pen mark on your one page,
okay.
and I stopped myself.
And then,
Saturday.
oh, you can write on this, that's fine. Was there
I
any,
wrote on my, one of this book,
oh,
I matched it up against our 2019.
okay. Okay, so the only thing you
Work
found was,
for-
that was the only thing you found was the select board, okay. All right, great. Carter?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking more at formatting.
Yes,
Than
definitely.
the details.
Yep.
Okay, so I wrote more questions in here that you can read if you want, but like there were some that were underlined and I'm like, should that be underlined
Yep,
or not? And then there were just some formatting things, so. I don't know, do you want to just take it and look
sure,
at it, or if you have questions,
sure, unless there's
On
something
my-
like,
comments?
you think it should be labeled differently, like some significant, like if it's.
No, I think it was mostly formatting.
Okay. That's great,
This is a big Microsoft Word document,
it is,
so it's easy enough
Right,
to
it's
just
just
go
compare.
through, but when we look and
Yeah,
say, oh, this is how we're gonna format it from now on, make them all the same.
yeah. You run into trouble if the pages start going out of line or, you know,
like the
like-
page numbers are different now.
yeah, the table of contents depth, like, it's a little tricky. But, yeah. Okay,
I have some done, but I wanted to do the references.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I don't have anything for you yet.
Okay.
Anyway.
I know you've been busy, so,
Hmm.
yep, okay. Thank you. I'll look at what George and Carter gave me, that could be something to do for the next meeting.
And so the GIS mapping. Nothing new with.
No, I
No.
think. I feel like it's maybe two different things, because we're just getting maps from Moosewood, and the GIS thing we kind of tabled because of the price, right? Unless we want to go back to ask, like,
So-
let's go to the CIP.
Oh, the CIP where.
Yeah, we'd have to get on the CIP. The
Let's see
CIP,
how this works.
have to get on the CIP schedule
Okay.
to talk about it,
CIP.
the capital improvements planning committee.
But
So
they
we're
were
look-
interested in it, wasn't there something?
They were, they all thought it was a good
They thought it was a good
idea.
But we didn't, we have to actually pursue that.
Yeah, like we should really look at it again and.
So
make-
should we take
get
this
them-
off the old business agenda moving forward? Or do we
Well,
want
do
to,
we want to keep pursuing this to convert everything to GIS? Cause it'll probably take some time and research to,
well, then we should leave it on here.
yeah,
I just have one question. Under the page 32. It's a E. At the end of it, it says is amended to my page 2022. You know, on page 33 is the same.
that's not on my. Yeah, that's not on my version. That's large wind energy.
That was on me.
Yeah. I don't see it on here. Oh, it's at, you know what? It's at the top.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on this one. It's at the top.
Yeah. Nice thing ahead.
Okay. On the GIS, just, I don't want to put it all on you again, another thing on you, Russ. Do we want to put it on a future agenda to,
I think we should. I mean, just what I
Revisit.
discovered looking at the subdivision plans, reviewing, it would be so nice to have that to just be able to review. There was a lot of, I kept going to all the different sites that I knew of to get, it's like, wait a minute, if we had this all in one spot,
Mhm.
you know, if nothing else, it would help us.
Mhm.
Probably help the zoning board, probably help.
What was the dollar amount that we were,
It was a lot.
was it?
It was a lot.
50, 60,000?
think
Yeah,
so.
it was something big like
And
that.
then
Yeah.
maintenance.
There's no grants available,
No, we can ask SWRPC. It's always worth
Yeah.
asking.
it is a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Cause all the other towns,
Yeah.
there's a lot of towns that don't seem to have as much money as we do, and they have good ones, so.
Mhm.
They must have found some money somewhere.
Must have.
Let's put it on a future agenda and like revisit all of that information that we, just to refresh our memories. Does that sound like a good plan?
It does.
Yeah, I think we should revisit the quote. I think we only got one. Did we get
Right,
one
we only
quote?
got the one,
Yeah,
well, we
we
got
got one.
Jeff, but I don't think it was the same.
Yeah, I feel like there was another one that we, it was Avatar gave us
But theirs
a
was.
quote, but theirs
really
wasn't as
the same
robust.
thing, Yeah,
No, yeah, it's just the one, that the current company we work with for.
Who was that, the gentleman that came in?
CAI,
CAI, that's it.
I think what Ken was, well, was it this meeting? Or was it the CIP meeting? Ken was talking about that the selectmen can, you don't always need to get 3 bids. That
Right.
if there's only one guy that does this job and does it the way you need it, then trying to get 3 bids is pointless.
yeah,
Right.
we had two, but they weren't apples to apples.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'll see if I can find the files and have them resent with the next, do you want it on the next meeting or?
Yeah, what else do we have? We have the hearing, but that won't take long.
That should be pretty easy.
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
Do you think there's anything we should do there? Like, because to your point, if other towns, smaller towns are doing that, I mean, it just seems like a lot of investment for this town to do. And I don't, we can revisit it, but if we're gonna get, if ultimately the blocker is price. I'm just curious, like how are other towns affording it then,
Right,
right?
maybe inquire on, hey, how did you
Yeah,
find this?
right.
yeah, was it Marlowe or there was another,
Morrow, Stoddard,
yeah, there were other small towns that did it,
Hinsdale.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Hinsdale, I think, yeah, and they're also, their AMI is lower than ours, so they may have been eligible for more grants. I think they qualify for HUD funding for some things.
Yeah, but I mean, we should, and also get Jim up to speed on it too, so we
Yes.
could revisit it and figure out what the right next steps are, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
And tax map,
So Kathy, has created or has moved, I guess, the file from Keith to Google Docs or Google Drive, so Russ and I both have access to it. I did add a couple of things today from, I added Alan Oxman's thing, and I added the Quinn one because it's incorrect on the current tax map, so whether they do something or not, it still needs to be fixed. So those two, and I think that was the only, and the other correction that we got from Woodcock, is that what it's called? The one out on, by Randy's place, out next to Boo's, Boo Martin's. That one has,
Yeah,
that's just keeping a list of what's wrong.
just
We're not
keeping a
fixing
list. We're not fixing it. We're just keeping a list for the next round of corrections.
can we send that list out to all the board members so we can
Sure.
have a fresh copy of,
Yep,
isn't it 5 or 6 or more?
yeah, so there's,
Quite a list.
there's,
Oh,
I
It's
don't-
growing, yes.
we're like,
It's scary.
there's some that we're tracking, which we don't necessarily need to do anything with yet. One is that orphan lot that came
Oh.
up during the road subdivision, which I don't think anything has changed on that yet, right, George? There's, you know, that orphan lot that was,
Oh, Nick,
yeah, nothing's happened with that yet, right?
no, he's got lawyers that are looking.
Okay, so that one is on the list just to keep track of it. There's the conservation easement they're pursuing down on the triangle. That's on the list, even though that's not done yet. Like there was a third one. Off the top of my head.
A couple subdivisions.
Well, yes, right, Alan Pickman's, we just did, that one didn't make it into the last round.
The one I did? Make it to. the-
Yes,
That did make.
yours did make it in. Yeah, Alan's was after January 1st. So it was like January 15th. And I think that's it.
You'll need to find someone to draw a new road map, remember? Years ago, the beautiful, it's just all the roads, at that time, they drew all names if you lived there. But I think that road, never mind the names, but I think there are new roads that could be added to that map.
Yeah, yeah,
Some volunteer, I think. who-
probably in 1958. Yeah. Yeah, I have a copy of it on my wall in my office. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I have a map that's like 2 by 2.
Yeah, 2 foot by 2 foot, yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Is that where you at?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Ask if you want me to forward, do you want me to forward it as a spreadsheet? Would you prefer a PDF format? I can do, or I can send both.
I like both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. How's the HOP grant? How are we doing on that? So that's,
So,
we want to talk about the potential for future as well as the existing.
yeah, I don't know if Carter wants to give an update. Have you met since our
We
last?
haven't met since our last
Okay.
meeting, but we're meeting next Monday, so we'll have an update for you. following
On all the
meeting.
interviews and,
Yeah, I mean, we've compiled all that data. I think Pam is putting together kind of a final, either PowerPoint or Word document with that data, and then I think we're planning to wrap it up at, this next
one,
meeting.
right?
Yeah,
that's
so
what I thought.
Monday.
at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so we do have a few things on the agenda. for
Yeah,
this
we
meeting.
do,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great, well, so that'll be the recommendations for us to move forward for the rest of the
Yeah.
year to.
We'll have
present
to check in with Pam to make sure she's ready for the next planning board meeting
Yeah.
to do that, but yeah, our plan is to wrap it up at the
Right.
next meeting.
Quadruplexes and 1 acre zoning. 100 foot frontage, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, high rises.
You chair.
Plazas.
Plazas, yeah. All right, well, we'll look forward to that.
And I said, I don't know if Russ was here at the beginning, that there is an application out for the next round of funding, but we'll wait until we get recommendations before we start drafting any.
And would that be
Deciding.
for the planning board to then take it
Yes.
forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So the HOP grant, I mean, I think the intention is that the HOP grant committee is completing.
Yes.
Right.
But the grant, this future possible grant as well is still for housing.
Yeah,
It's all-
it's
It's
regulatory
reading.
developments, the third phase.
Yeah.
So there could be still a community engagement. I mean, there will have to still be a community engagement piece, because we'll want to talk about what we're recommending, but it's up to I mean, I'm hoping the committee, I guess, will still want to provide input, but there won't be the, one-on-one interviews and all of that. It will
Yeah.
just be,
Okay, I'm not sure that I mean,
We do that.
I don't think we
if
get.
they're interested,
Yeah.
want to be, it can be done.
Yeah,
But I know that the planning board will have to do community engagement if the HOP grant committee doesn't.
Yeah, I just wonder about future monies that, depending on how this goes with your recommendations and how we move forward with the town with possible zoning changes.
Mhm.
Whether there might be some people that wouldn't like the idea of us, even though it's free money.
Right.
For us to be pursuing more when we might do very little change with this first round.
Mhm.
So what would change between that and more money? What would we do different?
Well, we could ask for money for legal review. That's one thing that would be really helpful.
Okay,
The technical assistance, it's,
Southwestern, do they charge us for remember he was talking?
they
about
would charge
doing
us. Yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah. Right. Right.
Would they do the zoning already? So would they take our zoning, like what we're trying to do now, and actually do it like a job and finish it in a time period of 2 weeks or something, and we just pay them?
I don't know that they have the capacity for that right now. Their staffing issues. Yeah. And I know they're using Carol Ogilvy as a consultant for technical questions, so
Yeah.
yeah. That's just my initial thought on it, but
okay. Subdivision regulations, are we still
no word from the
Haven't-
attorney.
waiting? No Driscoll,
No, I've emailed them.
you're the contact person for him, right?
I think both are, right?
Well,
Copy this.
yeah, I mean, technically, it's supposed to be the chair that it has contact with the legal counsel.
Right,
But if you want me to get after him, I will.
yeah, but you already have a report, you already have that rapport with him on the top
Yeah.
on the subject and.
Right,
You
you
might
want,
not recognize. me
Maybe.
Sending something, cause
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything back.
okay, I'll try him or Laura. Inspector Morgan, she's his boss.
Inspector Morgan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming work session driveway regs, Murray's not here, or maybe you're gonna wait a little bit and hear what Southwest has to say to talk to him.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
Yeah.
if he's reached out to them or not.
Yeah. So, new business, we would be talking, time to take a look at this, watershed protection audit. And, so Cam's here to,
Cam's not gonna say a whole lot.
no.
Well, I looked at a couple of the questions, but maybe you can explain. So you're on this advisory,
Yeah, I'm on
Sauhegan River,
local advisory committee,
okay,
which you have to know under chapter 43 of the New Hampshire RSA's. Sauhegan River was one of the rivers nominated and designated for protection. And as a consequence of that, the LACs were provided for in the statute to oversee sort of the care and maintenance. We have jurisdiction a quarter mile on either side of the river to what happens, not in the river, and it's not as sexy as it sounds, but it does impact a certain number of things and it doesn't value. I was on the Exeter River for 100 years and I'm a American member of it. This is something we're trying to do a new management plan for this, for the river. Sorlac is, but DES is also getting involved with this. Surface water is really interesting because the biggest sources of pollution are your little streams that nobody pays attention to, whether they're perennial streams or anything. That's where the pirate comes from, because it's so casual. And so I think we'd like to get some identified, named. We have a few serious ones that go into the Sahiba, not much, but anyway, we are definitely part of the watershed. And when I went down to join up, they said, well, the river doesn't run through there. And I said, aha, all you have to do is be part of the watershed. And the watershed goes up Greenfield, Vineboro, Mount Vernon. It's has little bits, even a little doodle from Goffstown, I think. It's bigger than you think. So anyway, that's what this is about, which is a audit of what towns are doing through their regulations to protect the watershed and the consequent water that goes into the river. And it was handed off to me. I promptly misplaced it online. I got another copy eventually. I kind of set it aside, and then I looked at it and said, yeah. and you know, the first 10 questions I was able to kind of muddle through, and I thought, there's no point in my trying to look through the ordinances. I haven't looked at them recently. I haven't worked on them, and that's why I shoved it off. It's late, but I'm sure they'll still be glad to get it. And it's very, very nicely done. I mean, very precise. I went through it. There's a lot of work there, right? I know that. I appreciate it.
So thank you, Kim. And so Russ, why don't you?
Pick it up from when you got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, when you know.
I can explain what I did is I just went through each question and some were sort of basic and some of it's easy to answer, and others asked like, do you have a regulation for water buffers to like a stream or something? And so I just used all our regulations and just did a search with the PDF for buffer, you know, and I would see, do we have anything? So it's most everything here is just gleaned out of the regulations. If I found something pertinent to the question, the one where I think talking was at 2.9, and I didn't answer there.
Yep, 2.9.
And I'm not sure why I didn't answer it, but what does it say?
Does your community have regulations or requirements other than what is required by state and federal law governing the preservation of wetlands during development?
Okay, so for that one, I would say yes, in that we have a 75-foot buffer for buildings.
I saw that email, you would reference that.
So if you're going to develop the property, you have to keep it. It's not very much of a regulation, but it's something. So that's why I said I would have said yes. And that's the kind of thing I looked at through how I did it through the whole thing. Is if there was something, it doesn't say how much or quantify. You know, do you have lots of them? What are they? It just says yes or no.
Right.
That's.
Does everybody agree with that? But that answer for, well, you guys don't see what I see, so.
Right.
I mean, I think that makes sense to answer it in that way, and I mean, this is just a survey for them to gather information, right? It's not like they're telling you, show it where exactly it is.
Suspected kind of weak on the
Right.
regulation.
Yeah.
As you all know, I'm a regulation person. I love my wetlands, so this is good guidance for the planning board to see what might be moved and changed, especially with climate change. I mean, that is just going to be so different. And let me give you a piece of trivia that I just learned recently. You might know. you know, this is putting in bigger culverts, you know, because of the new things. Bigger culverts cause more erosion, because the water moves faster.
Makes sense.
That's
Yeah. I feel like too, could be a good tool for us when we look at Jeff Littleton's recommendations when he did his NRI audit, to use this, look at his recommendations and see where there's opportunities
Is
to
it-
improve. Like, I mean, I guess my question was like, did you see any places where you thought, oh, we should really probably look at that, if the answer was no?
Yeah, there's a number of places in there that I was kind of, oh, yeah, we don't have any regulations here. And when you
Yeah.
could tell the question was kind of leading you towards, oh, I have regulations, don't worry about it. You know?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, no, we don't do that, we don't do that.
yeah.
And why do you think that is?
Why we don't?
Yeah,
I think probably the places that have more regulations would be more urbanized right now and more developed. So earlier on, they ran into problems and had to, you know, write a rule as things would happen, where we don't have a lot of development.
people further down the Milford and Wilton
and,
and
yeah, so if-
Merrimack. And
you know, you think of like Amherst Street, right? Obviously, there was no regulation when that started. And it just went boom, and it turned into just a big plaza after plaza, and
Yeah.
it was nice flat land, and then they started to regulate, so things have kind of drawn in a bit. We don't have a lot of development, or really that much developable land to begin with. So I don't think there was really a need. No one's going, oh my gosh, you know, is Walmart gonna build on Temple Mountain? You know, so there's not a rule. And I think that's why we don't have a lot of rules.
No, you're right. That, we talked about that for years, George. We always said, we're really lucky, we're protected because of our topography. Just the way things work, with the steep slopes and
All the
we're, you know, we're on the
conservation.
side of a mountain, all the, yeah,
Yeah.
and we've been lucky that our land isn't easily gonna be
Easily developed.
developed. That's right. That's right. So we'll be, the last resort for a developer to come in. They're gonna hit all the other towns first, but that doesn't mean they're not gonna come here someday.
Yeah,
They will. I mean,
Yeah.
but that, you know,
Yeah, we'll be ready.
Or things could speed up with all, yeah, working from home stuff now, and people moving out of the cities and
right.
right.
steady.
The urban sprawl.
But I mean, you know, that's gonna advance now, you know, because of post-COVID.
Yeah, people are okay living on the side of a mountain. Because, you know,
That means they're not living in their car.
But still, you have to-
People are-
you have to look at it in kind of a soil.
oh, you're thinking about affordable housing, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's soil, it's, you know, like I always tell my friends, where I live, if it's not ledge, it's wetlands. You know, and that's really around here, everything is steep or so it's either wet, there's not a lot of flat, really nice developable, well drained. You don't have that with a lot of deep soils, so. You know, I'm sure places could be. They develop the Rocky Mountain.
One of the ordinance that Christine had me review was regard to flood and the wind systems. That came about because there was a group of people that wanted to put wind towers up on
Kidder.
Kidder Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's 49-page document.
Yeah.
I doubt that'll ever come into play in any other place in Temple.
Right.
right.
Well, because the mountain's protected, both sides of the mountain,
Yeah,
the
we
park
wouldn't
and
let-
the,
We wouldn't want
yeah.
to put them on Temple Mountain.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't run them a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of history that is still on the books, but we'll probably never have to regulate it.
Right.
Okay,
So maybe we can just share this document and
Yeah.
you're gonna send it to, is it Nashville Regional Planning Commission that gets it?
You have the original sentence. From the one.
It's probably in the chain. If you want to send me, I can. Send it on planning board or something.
Perfect.
Thank
And I
you.
just read an article that Kim might have been interested in. They said that the pollution is not so much in the rivers and streams, but the little tributaries that lead into them. Cause farmers didn't have any use for old equipment, so they thinking about the board.
Yeah.
There's that and there's, fertilizer, lawns.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Farmers that would want to be more for spraying the fertilizer because they're paying a lot of money for it. But it's the, the ag way. A little more would be better. But anyway,
Well-
thanks. Yeah, and Conscom might like a copy of that. Or that could just be sent to,
Yeah, discuss, then to Scott or.
But Kathy, with Priscilla, if you can.
Yeah.
pull it down.
Thanks.
Perfect. Good. Any other, was there any other new business that we? On to other business?
Sorry, did you have something?
I was just gonna step back to the GIS mapping thing for a second.
Mhm.
I just, when we started talking about GIS mapping and again, I'm new to this, so I found an article from GIS strategic plan for New Hampshire back in 2007. Are you guys aware of that?
It was a UNH cooperative.
Yeah, it talks about granite.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
That's it.
How are we on the update of the New Ipswich
They're
subdivision?
reviewing tomorrow night. Their next hearing, they have the application. I think I said at the last meeting, they approved the yield plan, so for 29 lots. So they'll be looking at a cluster plan for 29 lots tomorrow night. I looked on their agenda for today and I didn't see a traffic study, which was what we were interested in. So I'm assuming they'll present it in person tomorrow night, but if I get that, I'll share it. But of course, you can dial in remotely to listen to the meeting also. Or go in person. So that's the only news I have on that. I do have the, I went to that multifamily housing. It was a lot of math. Math is not my strong suit, but I'm happy to pass this on if anyone's interested in taking a look at it. It was okay, I would say. I feel like it wasn't really geared toward planning boards. I feel like it was geared more towards funders or nonprofits that were looking to apply for financing to support new development.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was interesting, but it wasn't,
Like Southwestern Community Services, like the.
Yeah. right, or community development loan funds. That kind of
Maybe
thing.
not for Temple, but.
Yeah,
I'll read through it and then I'll bring it back and give it to. Pass it off to
around.
somebody next time, yeah.
that's the only other thing I had.
And then how about did you want to talk about the legislative updates? What happened? Do we have results from some of the votes? I thought you sent,
I did
sent it to
send
us.
something, yeah, I feel like almost everything was shot down.
except the parking,
Except the parking thing.
parking for ADUs, right?
I think in general, it wasn't even just for ADU,
Oh,
it was parking in general.
It was so promising in the house. but then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Hmm.
haven't gotten anything new since then.
Okay.
I think they are starting to do committee assignments again, so we should see more activity
We'll
over
be
the
back.
next few weeks.
Okay.
Oh, and then this is when I was getting the cards for the mailer. This is from last year. We all looked at this electronically, but it's from FEMA about the national flood insurance when they sent out the new maps to review. And just wanted to see if you could file it in the office. Is there a file for NFIP stuff? I think there was one, right? Thank you.
And then, so that segues right into filing project, is that?
That's Kathy, I think.
Kathy?
There was an email from Brandon Richards, he's from Fieldstone, asking about, did someone respond to him? I think you did, Russ. I think that
Yeah,
was
I
the
saw the
site
rest of it.
plan.
You did, yes.
Okay, I didn't see the response, which is fine. I just wanted to make sure. Do we need to create some kind of a system to make sure that things are? So I usually just CC TPB, the Temple Planning Board, Temple Planning at Temple NH.
I saw that you responded. I actually was going through my emails thinking, I remembered this, this request, and I thought, boy, we better not, we need to address this. And then I looked and saw that you had responded, but
Yeah.
we probably should have a better system for that so that we,
Yeah.
it doesn't fall through the cracks.
I like
If you just
Cross.
respond to Temple Planning, then Kathy gets a copy.
Okay.
Okay.
So I should, anything I like, even the
Yeah.
reviews, it's just temple planning.
Yep.
Okay.
That's my suggestion anyway. That's, yeah.
Okay.
Because then Kathy will have a copy for a file somewhere. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So yes, I reached out to New Ipswich. I ended up speaking with the administrator because the planning board person didn't get back to me. They have two different plans, actually. The planning board, according to the price that they're paying, the planning board actually has a personal plan. Oh. The select board has the professional or the essentials plan. And she said that they got the essentials plan for the select board because there were gonna be some items that were going to be, not public. And they wanted to be able to have some files protected. And it seems like, wouldn't the planning board potentially have protected things too? I don't know. But anyway, it's that same question of, it's kind of, to have a personal plan when you're doing something that's clearly not personal.
I can see where the selectmen, they deal with things like welfare cases and,
Right.
legal things.
Personnel.
That you
Yeah.
can't have just anybody looking at, so,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we as a planning board have that.
Unless there's a
There's legal, but then I don't know that, yeah. I mean, basically, the more expensive plan, the essentials plan, has the ability that you can protect some files. So if you needed to, we can do that personal plan. So it's 120 versus about 200
Yearly,
A year.
a year. Oh, and I sent out the budget info too.
yes, you did. And
Yes, yeah.
I wrote Dropbox on there for a reason.
Yep. Yep. So we have $100 in office supplies, which you haven't used. I last year, you don't buy paper or toner. Yeah. And we still have some money in trainings and seminars. We budgeted 500 and we've spent 165. So,
What would be the other benefit? Are there any other benefits to having the professional one versus the private one other than the security?
there's a whole list of things you can do with it. There's probably none that we actually care about. It's 3 terabytes of data instead of 2. It terabytes a ton of data. I can going through that. I mean, the nice thing, for example, that spreadsheet of the tax map updates, you actually have to have a Google account to be able to access it, which is a pain. So something like Dropbox, it means anyone could access it. You wouldn't have to have any other accounts. You can just, as yourself, go online, go onto whatever web browser you like, edit the file, and we all have access. That's in
internally to our own files, but also the idea that New Ipswich had was that they have all of their. And the thing is, we already have some of this already on our website, but they have like all of the case files together on their own Dropbox. They have all of their meeting minutes and agendas. We can put all of our attachments like all together if we organize, like on our website, we have minutes and agendas, but we could actually add all the attachments. And I mean, that's a question we have to get into it, like, is it okay to put all these draft regulations out there, you know, as long as we clearly mark them as draft, are we okay with, you know, with all of that is so.
Was that an opportunity to have that off to the side, not published? Which
Well,
would be interesting,
Right,
Right,
Yeah, I'm leery of that.
yeah, I agree.
yeah.
So that being said, should we kick the can for another meeting or two and do a little bit more homework and keep it on the table, but,
yeah.
you know, and I haven't gone on yet, like the Northwich should
Yeah, you should take a look
go on
at
and
it.
see how it works. And,
Yeah, so on their agenda,
have you,
yeah.
so maybe we should
look at it.
all do that, go on to Ipswich and just mess around with it. And see
So the
what-
link to their Dropbox is on the agenda, so it has all the documents relevant to that agenda. It doesn't have all the documents, like from their past, you know, however many years. It's just the ones that are relevant to their current agenda.
Going to that meeting, you can get all that.
So if you're going to that meeting, here's the documents, and so, and then, you know, there's the agenda, there's the minutes from the last meeting. And if there's, like, for example, they had two cases at their last meeting, so one was Brookhaven, so that was a folder, you clicked on that folder, and then all the documents came up for that. And there was that Silver Scone was the other one, so that had its own folder, and you clicked on that, and you had all the documents related to that, so. Yeah, it was really helpful for me to go onto the Brookhaven. The only thing I would say is there's like 50 documents now for Brookhaven. So you can sort it by date, so I just tried to look at what was the most recent.
It's not sort of, don't. Bucket.
But it's sortable, like I was able to sort by what was most recent at the
User-friendly.
top. Yeah,
At least
oh yeah,
things in one place and not
It's
in.
all in
an
one
email.
place.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It seems like everybody agrees that it would be better.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
the matter is which plan.
Yep.
At hand,
Yeah,
and my input would be that having that. Private area, not because you're hiding anything from the community or whatever, but prevent confusion,
mhm.
your draft documents.
Yeah.
are-
Hey, yours only
Guys do
said,
that.
yours only said that. Well, wait a minute, that was
Yeah.
our draft
Yeah,
we're working
right.
on. That
That's
isn't actually our.
not- that's not official.
Yeah, that's
Having
yeah.
that separate area,
Yeah.
I think would be.
Not public obtainable. Yeah.
Well, it's
So-
probably still subject to right to know, but
Yeah, see,
Well,
so,
that's fine,
yeah,
you know, somebody asks for it, you present it to them, but.
Right.
Keeping it out of the, just out of the fray, so it doesn't cause confusion.
so people don't get confused.
And it would be nice, like with the subdivision readings. We've got all these different drafts and dated drafts, and if we can all just look at them easily, but not the whole world going back and say, "Oh, this, what about that?"
be
Right.
easier for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would all be
Right.
really smart.
Yeah.
Right,
I
All
mean,
right, well-
I'm in favor of doing it. I do think that we should purchase something. I'm not sure we. As long as we think we have the budget. I mean, it's not a lot of financial difference.
it's not.
So,
$80 different.
yeah,
For clarification, too, if I'm not mistaken, it was the personal plan, the essentials plan, and then wasn't there's a pro one, right?
There's an additional.
Business, yeah.
The business one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what-
It's a minimum of 3 users.
Yeah, so we're not, my point is that we're not going after the high, you know, the top. thing.
360 a year,
We're being reasonable.
2 years or 360 a year, yeah.
I think it's a reasonable, you know. It's reasonable to get the essentials plan in my. Opinion, as opposed to the personal one.
Yeah, I agree.
I also think that, I don't know, there's probably no legal thing to this, but buying a personal plan. For, I think it's essentially a community, a municipality or whatever is, to me, just seems off. But
Yeah, you might be on something there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would be in favor of purchasing the essential plan. As long as, I mean, it seems like we'd have the budget, Christine, based on, I think we can come up with.
Yes,
right?
I think we can too.
Yeah, so $200 a year. Well, so do we want to just talk about it more at the next meeting, have it on the agenda under filing project / Dropbox
That's
plans?
it, so. I was just gonna show you.
I mean, what else would we need to look at? I guess?
Well, actually, look at it,
You
go,
wanna look at it,
yeah.
okay.
yeah, I'm leaning towards exactly,
Yeah,
I mean, makes sense, I think it's.
yeah.
no-brainer, but-
Which one, I think.
This
it
is the
makes-
packet for
organized,
this meeting,
you know,
so
it's helpful.
there's their minutes, there's the folder for Brookhaven and their other
Mm,
applications, and so I just click on Brookhaven and I can download files, or I can just open the folder, and then here's all the files,
Wow, that's easy,
and I just sort it.
yeah. Yeah, that looks very, very, user friendly, fast. And organized, get right to it. There you
Very
go.
much.
Yeah, it's new to me, but yeah.
And then their case
Good.
files. And you
Oh, I
can
see. So you got a link.
case file, and then open it, and it shows you all the relevant files.
Yeah, seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and the link is just on their agenda.
You can download all this stuff.
You can download it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, do we want to just let, who are we missing, Murray, and is it just Murray, for a member to,
Or Brian,
well, yeah, but, I mean, for regular attending
I feel like we're missing.
members, who are we missing?
No, maybe it's just Brian.
It's just Murray, right? Okay.
It's just Brian.
Yeah. Uh,
I'll make a motion to purchase the essentials plan.
I'll second. Good. Carter, you vote?
Yes,
Yes, I'll vote yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes. Okay,
okay.
then we'll move forward.
So you should arrange with Carol, right?
Yep.
And then you'll have to approve
The Carols, yeah,
the purchase.
both Carols, right? Was our-
Just,
one-
probably just
Yeah.
Carol in the office.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, for the credit card, but
So I just have to sign.
yeah, and you'll have to choose an account to put it under. So I'd put it under the office supplies, that'd be my recommendation, but
Okay.
that's this one here,
Mhm.
yeah. I can't see the numbers.
Yep. Got it. 419-1620.
There you go.
Only with my readers could I read that.
I refuse to have classes for readers, I have
Yeah.
distance.
I had my driver's license renewed and I was really happy that they really don't care
Yeah.
if you can't see right here. They, so pass with flying colors, but literally can't read this though, right? Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm just looking at the webinars. There's. I think Kathy's got them all on here.
move to adjourn.
second,
Okay, Carter, how you vote?
yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kathy, thank you. Cam, thank you for coming in.
I have an interesting